Hi guys, I thought I'd just do a quick tutorial to talk you through how to use the app, because I know some people don't want to read those huge bodies of text and it wasn't very clear. So I thought I'd just talk you through this and some of the hiccups that people who have used it have come up against. So when you first click on the link that I sent you, you'll be taken to this page. It's really simple. If you haven't already created an account, you just click register. It asks you for a username, which is what everyone will see during the campaign. So try to make it something that is at least easy to distinguish as you. Your email address and your password, and then click register. That then saves it to Firebase, which is Google's secure free data store. As you can see, all it records is when you made it, your email address, when you last logged in, so for me it's today, your user ID, which is just this random collection of letters and numbers, and your username. Your password is completely yours, it is secure and held by Google. I can reset it for you, but that's it, that's all I can do with it. I can't see it. If you have already made an account, you click here to log in. If you can't remember your password, I'm just going to delete 2 digits of mine. Enter a false one, or what you think it might be, click login. It will then give you a reset password option. That will then send you an email to reset your password. So really simple, basic login page. I'm going to log in now and talk you through it. So none of these options work except for add weapon, and there's a reason to that. There's a method behind my madness. For now, all you can do is add weapons, because you need to have a full weapon roster for your faction before you can start adding units. You need to have a full unit roster before you can start using the army builder. The army builder needs to be finished before we can join or host Crusades, and the manager account is really simple. It's just changing username, email and password. I don't think I've set up the functionality for that yet, but that's like 5 minutes work. I'll also clarify as well, none of the visuals you see here are final. I'm going to be changing the way it all looks today, so these buttons are going to change. The background might change slightly. I've zoomed right in so you can see it, but on mobile it looks, if you haven't already opened it on your mobile yet, it looks sort of like this. So you can see you've got like a burning planet at the bottom, which I thought was very Warhammer. I think it works quite well. So add weapons is the only one we're doing today, because it's the only one that's set up and it's the only one you guys need. So you come into here, it may do what it did for you guys, where it just very briefly shows all of the questions, then they will disappear again. You've got a back button. If you make a mistake, just click back and it will take you back to the main menu, and when you come back in, it will reset everything. So don't click back unless you've made a mistake. It's the way to reset it. I'm going to add a weapon from the Storm Surge list now, as a way of trying to demonstrate how this all works. So we're going to start with the Pulse Blast Cannon focused. That is a point to make. So the if you're adding a weapon that has 2 profiles like the Pulse Blast Cannon, you need to add both as separate weapons. It's just a coding thing. It'll be easy if you add them as separate things. So we'll go back to the add weapon. I'm going to pop that in here. Don't worry about capitalization. The font I'm going to change it to today looks best when everything's capitalized, so I'm just going to change all text to be capitalized. Select faction, so we can choose Tau Empire. You can choose where it's a melee weapon. If you choose melee weapon, it will then hide the range and set it, or not hide it, but make it read only and set it to 0. It's Tau though, so it's not a melee weapon. It's 24-inch range. You don't need to put in the speech marks to indicate that it's inches. The app will do that for you. Number of attacks, I believe, is 2. Yep, 2 attacks. And then we get ballistic skill. Now for this, it's always best to put the average. So for example, with Space Marines, you might have a plasma pistol which hits on a 4+ for a regular Space Marine. You might have a lieutenant or a sergeant or something that hits on a 3+. You might have some amazing hero that also has it that hits on a 2+ or something. That's fine, put the 4+. We will, when we're adding units, have the ability to buff their skill sets. So when I add in the Crisis Commanders, for example, they've got all of their weapons default to 4+, because everything in the Tau army hits on a 4+, unless it's a commander, in which case it hits on a 3. So when I then add in the commanders, there'll be a ballistic skill that I can then add 1 to, and it will increase all of their to hits to 3+, irrespective of rules. It's just how we're going to get the code working. The Storm Surge is Pulse Blast Cannon's got 24 strength, because this is the scariest gun in the Tau army. AP is -5, no, -6, no saves allowed. Damage is 12, I believe. Yep, damage 12. Right, so this bit's important. So keywords, you see underneath it's got keyword value. I've left this in so you guys can see it working. So when you choose a keyword and you have to choose 5 keywords, most of the time you'll choose none. Very few weapons have got 5 keywords on, but I've included up to 5 because I don't think anything exceeds that. I know there are a few with 4, but just in case they add something down the line that requires 5, there is 5. So if you choose something like anti-character, you can then enter a value in here. So it might be anti-character 3+. You don't have to add the plus, you just add the 3. It may be something like this weapon, which has heavy, in which case that value is then set to 0 and hidden. You don't need to worry about it. It's not a keyword that requires a number. If it was sustained hits, then again you'd put sustained hits 1, sustained hits 2. You'd put the number in here. So really simple. I've tried to make it as easy as possible. This weapon only has 1 keyword, so the rest of these will be none. There we go. And then you click Save Weapon, and then you'll get a pop-up that says Weapon Pulse Blast Cannon Focused saved successfully. And if you make a mistake, you need to let me know, because then I open it in this database and I've got to then try and find your weapon. So filter by weapon name and apply, and then I've got to find it. So let's say there was a mistake on the Pulse Blast Cannon. I'd have to go down to here, Pulse Blast Cannon, then I can see what you put in, and it might be, oh sorry Alex, I put it in Tau Empire, it should have been in Orcs, or something like that. I can then edit it in here. That's the only way to edit weapons at the moment, is for me to do it manually. So if you make a mistake, you need to let me know. You can private message me if you don't want to put it in the group chat. But this is where the data is stored. The other thing I will say, because Dom came up against it as well, is if you're adding weapons for a Space Marine Divergent chapter or sub-faction of some kind, you don't need to put them all under your faction. So if you were doing Imperial Fists or you were doing Blood Angels, don't start adding Plasma Pistols, for example, under your faction. Put them under Space Marines. When you add your unit and you say it's a Sanguinary Guard, for example, they will have access to everything in the Space Marine roster. It won't just be Blood Angels. So only put in things that are actually unique to your faction under your faction. This way it saves everybody time. We're not adding duplicates. We can make sure that you've got everything you need for your faction, and we can make sure the stuff that is unique, so for example Blood Angels have got an Executioner's Axe, which is unique to them, that goes on Blood Angels. Heavy Bolter goes under Space Marines. Do you see? So just keep it to your the faction if it's unique. If it's not, whack it under Space Marines. Obviously Xenos factions don't have to worry about this, neither do Chaos Demons or anything like that if you guys are going to run these down the line. But it's important to populate the Space Marine folder correctly, because if people start collecting things like Space Wolves or anything else, then those weapon profiles will already be filled out, and it's just going to save everyone a load of time. I don't know if Astra Militarum Imperial Guard share weapons with the Space Marines, so Tom, if you can let me know about that, because I'll need to make sure you have access to Space Marine weapon rosters when adding your units. But yeah, that's it. Little 10-minute tutorial. It's all done and dusted, and it really is simple. If you've got 5 minutes, you can add 5 weapons. It's really quick. It's designed to work on your mobiles, because down the line I want you all to be stood around the tables in Chaos Cards with everything you need on your mobile. I'm going to make it, unlike the Warhammer app, I'm going to make it reactive. So if you've got a weapon profile that is an enhancement for your faction, that comes with a detachment, it will appear under your weapon profiles, not just under enhancements. If you've got some sort of a buff, so for example the town new detachment gives an extra 6 inches to range, it will update to add 6 inches to the ranges of all the weapons, so you don't have to remember it. There's less remembering involved, it's all managed by the app. I'm going to make it reactive, I'm going to make it clever, to try and make everyone else's lives easier, because Lord knows I forget shit all the time that probably would win me more games, and so I want to try and eliminate the human element to it if possible, so that we can just concentrate on actual battle tactics rather than, oh fuck, I forgot this, are you alright if I re-roll this, or I forgot I can do this, do you mind if I run this battle stratagem? Let's get that nonsense out of the way, let's try and get it all automated where possible. But yeah, hope you enjoy using the app, guys. I've tried to make it as simple as possible. In the next week or so you'll see it suddenly change visuals dramatically, and hopefully in the next week or so you'll also be able to start adding units to it, provided you filled out all your weapon rosters. But yeah, enjoy guys, and I'll speak to you all soon hopefully.